Welcome to Real with me, Zara King. I have been in business and personal development for years alongside raising my family. I started in the beauty industry in 2011, moved into network marketing and then coaching and NLP. This podcast originally began helping beauty professionals, and now I support ambitious women in a wider arena of service-based businesses. It is all about real, uncensored conversations on coming home to you and your alignment. You are done playing at a level that you know you've outgrown, and you're ready to go all in on creating more income, more freedom, mental clarity, and a business that actually works for your life. Inside this podcast, we talk real business, real life, and the hard parts most people avoid, from identity to strategy and what it actually takes to grow as women and mothers who want it all. So if you're ready to trust yourself fully and step into your next level, you're in the right place. Hello, you gorgeous human you, and welcome back to another episode. Thank you for being here as always. Today is more of just a quick conversation around something that keeps coming up. So I know that everyone at the moment talks about visibility online, being seen on social media, growing your business on social media. Everyone wants it. Everyone is striving for more views, more vanity metrics, more following. But there's also a lot of you that have a resistance to actually showing up and receiving that visibility. There's this huge resistance to it, and it hinders the result, even though you know you're really good at what you do. You are so good at what you do. And the clients that you've had, they love you, and the quality of whatever you do is brilliant. And you've built your business to this point up to here so far. And generally, the reason you want more visibility is because there's more saturation going on in the market. You know, it's not fully saturated, but because we have the use of social media these days, everyone wants to stand out. Everyone wants more of a piece of the pie. And you've got to be open to receiving it, but you're not. Because, and this goes much further than, I don't know what to post, by the way. It goes way, 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 way further than that. So what I'm seeing is that, and not just in my clients, but I see this a lot. Like some people, you know, using social media, saying they want the visibility, but there's like this but. They show up at surface level and stuff like that. Anyway, it goes much further than I don't know what to post. It's not just that. This is coming up, this huge resistance of actually being seen. You know, there's this like fear of judgment that goes on because it's a big wide world out there. And there are so many people online, and there are trolls, and there are people in different industries that call out different people in different industries. Don't agree with that. Side note, think if you're going to build a business, build it on positivity, not negativity. But that's a conversation for another day. In fact, I think I've done an episode on it probably. So there's this fear of judgment going on. So I want you to ask yourself, when you say I don't know what to post, like, is there actually an underlying fear in your body that's like, oh, I'm really worried about what people would think? Because the fear is going to hold you back. And to move past that, we have to actually decide to take action, even though we do have a little bit of fear. That's how you move past it, and that's how you build confidence. We need to say to the fear, cool, come with us, let's go, we're going to do it anyway. Okay, so there's a little bit of fear and a little bit of like, oh, someone's going to judge me. Now, also another side note to that, because a couple of my clients have said to me before, I don't want like my old friends or my family to see this post or that, And I'm like, you know what, just remove them then. Don't forget that you're in control, okay? And we're going to get into that, like how you can be more visible and how you can be, you know, not so, what's the word? How you can kind of strategize it and get there. The other thing that I'm seeing is people want visibility. People want to feel like they're growing, but there is a bit of a fear around success and a bit of a fear of like, well, what comes with that? There's a fear around feeling too successful and, then I should hold myself back a bit because, who am I to do that? There's a fear around what people will say if you end up, super successful, and feeling guilty around that, and like not being able to say what you want to say and trust what you want to put out there and hold a bit of authority because of this. Who am I to say that? And what if, someone said something or whatever? Yeah, there's all of that. I honestly I don't hate living here. That's a very strong term, but I know you can probably hear the pub having its bottles bloody taken away or whatever it is that's opposite us right now. We're still not back in the house, but we will be soon. So anyways, and maybe we are once you listen to this because I'm recording in advance. Anywho, so there's this self-trust piece that needs to be worked on. Ask yourself, do I need to work on that? Just ask yourself. I'm just going to leave this episode like a conversation like this. Do you need to ask yourself, how can I trust myself more with my authority? And what does that look like? Because all of this is literally building up such a strong resistance to actually doing the thing. And it's doing the thing that's going to give you the confidence anyway. It really is. All of this, all of the fear of judgment, the fear of success, the guilt around it, the not trusting yourself is moving you into a state of overthinking, comparison, wondering if someone else is going to say something and being scared of their opinions. And it's moving you into an emotional feeling that is very fucking unhelpful. Okay? Very unhelpful. You're in a state of overthinking in your brain, which is moving negative and unhelpful thoughts into your peripheral. You're then comparing yourself to other people, which allows stupid brain to go, oh, well, you're not good enough and blah, 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 and all this rubbish, okay? And you're comparing yourself to X, Y, and Z. And then emotionally and feeling-wise, you get tense. You get nervous. You feel scared. You feel jittery, you feel the anxiety, and your actual emotional state begins to attract that emotional state that you're in. So it's like a vicious cycle. And then your brain becomes addicted to that feeling. Okay? In a nutshell, that is what happens. Because you're just scared of being exposed. Exposed in what way, may I ask? So that's what it is. That's what I'm seeing. So ask yourself all the questions around those things, please. Is that coming up for you? Because then what you really need to do, okay, there's, visibility 101. There's like 3 steps here, okay? First and foremost, you need to be willing to be visible and act from a place of still feeling a little bit scared. You can work through that process of, changing that feeling. And this is what I help people with, like changing when you're in the feeling of, a lion's about to eat me. We can work through that feeling, but you've got to be willing. You've got to be willing. Okay? You have to be willing to know that once you've worked through that feeling, the first time you get a bit more visibility, the first time you really back yourself and say something that you really stand on, it's still not going to feel fun, still not going to feel perfect. You're still going to be stretching your comfort zone. So willing. You have to be willing. Okay? B, you have to decide. Oh my gosh, I've got what's the word when you're pregnant and you've got that thing? Like acid reflux. So if you can hear any funky noises, that would be my stomach / chest / God knows what going on. Anyway, B, you've got to decide what it looks like when you show up in your full power. And this is where you bring a bit of you into this, yeah? This is where you actually decide what it looks like to be visible at your next level online. What does it look like? Are you sharing more behind the scenes? Are you being a bit braver with your authority and speaking a bit more vulnerably? Or are you being braver with your authority and speaking about your expertise? Potentially, speaking to the client's problems that you solve a little bit more? Are you showing up and speaking to the camera a bit more for this visibility? Are you releasing a new offer or a new service that you've been sitting on for about 10,000 years because you just were too scared to put it out there? Don't forget you're brilliant at what you do. Don't forget the people that love you will love you always. Decide, what does it look like? Bear in mind, it doesn't have to look like complete overexposure here. Yeah, doesn't have to look like insane. It's the next step. What does the next step look like for you? And then we strategize that. Okay. Again, this is what I do with people. We strategize what that actually looks like. What does it look like on your stories? What does it look like week to week? I normally take my clients through either a weekly content strategy or a 3-weekly content strategy, whichever they feel is more aligned to them. And I also take them through each pillar and we build out like their pillars. What do your pillars look like? What are the actual points that you're talking about? Normally, I'll give this to you. About 5 pillars is going to set you off just where you need to be. 5 pillars. And we strategize that into how we're talking to our audience throughout that client journey. That's what you need to do. Okay, think about your client journey, the parts of it. Speak to each element of that throughout using your personal pillars. So you can see there, it's not just strategy. That's why it does become a little bit irritating when obviously you see posts like mine or like someone else's that is going through strategy, because you're like, why can't I fucking do that? Why can't I do it? I can sit on a call with a client of mine for 45 minutes and bang out a strategy, but if A and B aren't there, if A and B aren't there and we're too stuck in this resistance, it is not going to happen. It is just not going to happen. You have to be willing, you have to decide, you have to look at your power and see what that looks like, and you have to feel into it. That all has to be done before this strategy takes place. I can then bang out a strategy with you in one call. And I can say, follow this, and I can give you the blueprint. I can give it to you. It's literally copy and paste from my portal into yours and tweaked to your pillars and how you feel is best for you. And in alignment, whether or not you batch or not, like batch content or not. Okay, this comes into it as well when we work together. But it makes it really fucking easy, really simple. And the execution part, that has to be worked on through A and B and getting past all that resistance. And that's a daily practice. That is a muscle you have to train. And also what I want to say before I move on about one other really, really bloody important thing with this is that what was I going to say? I want to say one other thing. What is it? It was the fact that I said it's not just strategy. Oh, baby brain, guys. Baby brain. What was I going to say? I know. The expectation that you put on yourself to get this done quickly. Remove it. It might take you a while. That's what I was going to say. It might take you a while. If you are one of those people that's so good at what you do and you care so much, you probably care a little bit too much about all of the overthinking and you're stuck in comparison and other people's opinions, and your emotional feelings are just ridiculous. And so if they are that big and strong and they've been around for a while, your subconscious needs a lot more rewiring than another person's. Okay, because your subconscious is the thing that's running the show. And so you need to repeatedly, with emotional feeling, get into the emotion that you need to be in to move, i.e. action taking, spark, bubbly, fired up, excited. You need to be in that energy to move. But to get the subconscious to do this quicker and to do it on repeat and to do it without feeling hard, we need repetition and we need emotion and realness. So you have to do this over and over and over again. So yes, it is not going to be an overnight thing. It might be for some people because maybe they've not sat in the fear as long as you. And that is what I wanted to say. Sorry, my brain goes blah, blah, blah. Okay, moving on to the next really, 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 really important piece with this is the most important thing, right? Say you get to this visibility structure and you're like, yeah, I love it. I'm getting there. I can show up online. This is great. More important than that is actually who your people are, okay? And your positioning in the market. Not all visibility is good visibility. Yeah. So you need to decide where you want to stand out in the market, who you want to be talking to, because again, your people are your people. They align to you for what reason, right? And when you know who they are, this is when this stuff becomes even easier. Why does it become even easier? Because you know how to speak to the people that you feel connected to and whose problem you solve. Yeah, because you solve their problem. You speak to them day in, day out. They are your clients. They are your people. So at that point, you are hitting the nail on the head more through your messaging. You're not diluting yourself as much. It's clearer to them that you solve their problem, and this is how, and this is why you're credible, X, Y, and Z, everything that we do together. And so the showing up and being visible feels easier because you get better at it, because the response is better over time. That's the second seriously important piece about this visibility stuff. So, for example, if you're worried about visibility, and you want more of it, and you're going for it, maybe you're going for it, but you're not getting the best results out of it, well, then maybe it's the audience and the positioning section that you really need to work on, because that can be another hesitation to being seen online is, I tried for a while and I didn't quite get the result I wanted, but I'm so good at what I do. I have a good business. It just needs to be better. And so that is probably a missing piece, not just your brain saying to you, I don't want to do this, there's resistance here and I don't know what to post and blah, 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 blah. Okay? I love this. So what I want you to know as well, just because I think this leads on really nicely to the whole topic, is that personal branding is a big deal, as in showing people the face behind the brand. Yeah, because you're in a service-based business and people want to know who they're seeing, coming to, talking to, whatever. And generally I help self-employed women, so there's normally one of you or a couple of you at best. And the personal element of it is really important. So once you get past the resistance and you do the A, B, and C, I then want you to think about, and this can evolve over time, again, all of this can, but I want you to think about, like, what do you want to show? Because this is what people get stuck on, right? They're like, well, I don't want to be too personal. Oh, okay, cool. Well, what do you want to show? And on the flip side of that, what don't you want to show? I don't want to show my kids' faces anymore. And don't get me wrong, there are probably images of my kids' faces somewhere on the internet because I haven't taken them down yet. But I don't show them anymore. Or if I do, it's because they've asked to be put on my stories. They're like, oh, mummy, post this picture of me. Show people. I'm like, okay. You know, like my daughter sometimes says, I don't mind, put me on there. I'm like, okay, fine, you can go on there. She even wants her own business, so she wants to start her own accounts and stuff. And I'm like, let's wait until you're 12, you know? Anyway, I'm digressing, but what do you want to show and what don't you want to show? So in your control, right? Get it down, pen to paper, actually think about it. And then, you know, you're ready for a bit more of that involvement as well. And then it can feel more in your control rather than just like, oh, I've got to be open, I've got to be exposed, I've got to be vulnerable, you know? Actually, you don't have to be. Actually, this is in your control, and actually you get to decide how it looks and how it feels. And that has to align for it to feel good and attract better and to land better. But the whole point of this episode is to say that you have to get there. If you want to grow your business online, you need to get there. Unless you want to grow offline. And that is still an option, by the way. I grew my beauty business. I grew my... even my network marketing business, don't get me wrong, that is what made me go online. But even in network marketing, I did face-to-face events. I did flyers. I did collaborations. I did billboard signs around Christmas with all my products on them, on like a billboard in the area. And you want to talk to me about being scared of what people think? Do you know what I mean? So there is that option if you don't want to be online. If I talk about my beauty business when I was mobile, there was no fucking online. I think Facebook had just launched and it was like a feed where people spoke to each other. There was no business pages. There was none of that. Again, it was shop signage. It was leaflets. It was business cards. It was speaking to people. It was going into different places. It was standing on the street, handing things out. It was friends and family. It was word of mouth. It was collaboration. It was events, right? Networking, using your contacts. And that is still an option, a very viable option. And we do still have the internet, but not social media, right? So you could still just use things like a website, Google, that type of traffic. The traffic doesn't have to come through social media if you don't want it to. And I think I'll leave you with that actually, because I think that's such an important piece. Think about it. Like, actually, A, are you utilizing any of that to make your life easier? Because maybe you're not. And B, maybe you could just focus there if you don't want any of this visibility. But I think you do. I honestly think you do. I think you're in the right place. I think that you are already online and you're doing a good job, but you want to do better, but you're scared. That's what I think. So I think work through those resistance pieces. Decide of what is it really that's deeper down that comes up for you. Be willing. Decide how you want it to look and feel, and then strategize it, okay? Using the stuff I spoke about on personal brand as well and audience, because that's so important. Anyway, love you and leave you. Have a great day. See you on the next one.